are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no shorts, it's like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 396, part of the Almighty Baller Podcast Network. I am Jay, and with me is Mark. How you doing, Mark?
Good. How you doing?
I am doing fantastic.
Cool. We should have a lot to talk about today because the Knicks are playing preseason basketball. There have been two games that have happened already. They're currently playing another one. They lost to the Nets, they lost to the Wizards, and they're currently losing to the Nets. But it is preseason. Jay, did you watch all these games?
I have not been able to see these games.
You're a goddamn fraud. I asked him before the show. He said, Jay's like, there shouldn't be much to talk about in this episode. And I was like, what are you talking about? The Knicks have played two games already. There should be a lot to talk about. He's like, but they're preseason games. I didn't watch them. You didn't watch them. How did you not watch them? We do a Knicks podcast. How did you not watch the show? And then he's like, our Break of Sanity comedy podcast. I have a couple things written down. I have a lot to talk about for the next time we do that. You have a lot to talk about for the show that no one listens to. But the Knicks podcast, which everyone listens to, and everyone, I'm using that term loosely, that one you don't have. You've done no preparation. You've looked at box scores. You're a fraud.
Well, I mean, also we haven't done our comedy podcast, so you're making like I've done all this work for a show that we haven't actually recorded in 3.5 weeks.
Well, you said I have all this stuff written down for that show, but this show, the basic thing you could have done was say, watch the games. You didn't watch the games.
Right,
you have
but
no idea how good this team is.
Something funny happens, and I write down 2 words to remind myself to talk about that. That is not like extensive preparation.
You said you prepared. How much preparation do you do for this show, Jay? I'm listening. I'm waiting. Come on, tell me.
I pulled up the box score. How many times have you posted on the Knicks Instagram? Because I've been maintaining that.
You're maintaining a thing that you put pictures out. Do you know? Tell you how much work I'm doing on the Instagram site. You want to know how much work I'm doing on the Knicks Instagram site? I deleted the app because I don't know what the hell to do with the app. I don't know what you do with Instagram. I don't understand the difference. Whatever. I don't want to discuss, but all these. How is it any different than Facebook? It's just picture. I don't know what you do with Knicks Instagram.
What I'm doing is I'm stealing your question of the day from Facebook and I'm adding a picture to it.
That's fine. Please do that.
I was wondering if you were going to say something about that, but I guess you deleted the.
Deleted the app, and also, would I really care? It's not like you're stealing. We're both part of the same show. I don't give a crap what you take from me.
No, I know. It's because I don't know. It's easier to do that, and then I post I post through Twitter also, because Instagram there's a Twitter button. So your Facebook questions are now on Twitter and Instagram too.
Could you Snapchat them so they delete right away?
That is I am like you with that. I do not know what that is or why it exists.
I haven't. Okay, let's talk about the Knicks instead of talking about Snapchat.
Sure.
Which I think
the
much
Knicks,
like the Knicks talent, it disappears right away.
Yes,
right?
the Knicks played the Nets.
So before you go into, you didn't watch the games. I actually found a lot of positives from these games. I'm pretty excited about this team. Probably more so than you probably are because you didn't watch the goddamn games. You looked at the box score and said Knicks suck. Let's move on. I am very positive.
Okay, so tell me what you were positive about.
I think this team is going to be wildly more entertaining than like the past couple of years. The past couple of years, one of the things I love is, and God bless him, hope he's really good at OKC, but no more ISO Melo. The Knicks make every effort to move the ball. It is really nice. Let's go through some of the positives. The Knicks are making every effort to move the ball. They're trying to push the ball. No one's going, give me the ball, everyone back away.
Mm-hmm.
There's no stopping of the offense, which I really, really like. Even if the Knicks lose games, the Knicks are going to lose a lot of games. Their defense is horrendous. But on offense, the team is looking – there's a lot of positive. They have guys that can shoot threes. The ball's moving. If we have a decent point guard, it would look – the Knicks cannot take care of the ball. That's one of the big things from preseason so far is they have no clue how to take care of the ball. And two of the worst offenders of not taking care of the ball are Jarrett Jackson may be the worst. Raymond Sessions also is pretty bad also. Neither one of them seems like they're so into Sessions. They both have looked okay, and I want the Knicks to keep both those guys. But both guys have been kind of like, if I pass to I'm going to try pass to my teammate. If I don't, whatever.
So
There's
do
a
you
lot
think
of
Jack is
loosey
going
goosey
to?
with the balls.
Do you think Jack is going to be on the team?
Has to. Absolutely has to. I am come to the realization Cruz should even show up for the last preseason game. He is not on this team going forward in my mind. Well, actually, he'll be on this team until Noah comes back from his suspension. But you have to. Well, first of all, Ntilikina has barely been healthy this whole preseason. You can't go into the season. You don't. I'm hoping Ntilikina is healthy, and I liked what I saw from him the other night. But you can't go in this season with such little guard depth.
Right.
Can you really?
I mean, they have 4 guards. It's just they're not good.
Baker hasn't really been healthy. Is Baker playing tonight?
He has not.
I haven't really.
He has not played yet.
So
He's probably not playing tonight.
I only saw a little bit of tonight's game, but I watched the entire 2 other games because I was super excited for the Knicks preseason. The Knicks baseball playoffs had started, and people are texting me like about the Yankee game, and I'm just sitting there going, no. I'm watching the Knicks preseason game on DVR because I missed part of it because I had to put my kids to sleep. I'm taking in every moment in the first Knicks preseason game.
So from what I'm seeing, it looks like the first preseason game, we had people like Hayes, Wraith and Mays, Artis. They all got playing time.
They all came in at the end of the game. Let's talk about you. We'll talk about each game a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I took some notes in the first 2 games. I actually did some goddamn preparation.
Look at you.
Yeah. So
You realize the next time I prepare and you don't, we're just going to do a whole segment on that, right?
You know, here actually I'll read through some of my notes I made on the game, and this is just some. They'll all make sense, okay? My first note was Cantor out of position on the pick and roll. That was a running theme. Cantor has no idea where to stand on defense.
I've read that if he's more than 15 feet out on offense or defense, it's pretty much the end of the world.
You know, on offense though, you get him the ball, he will score. Get him the ball near the basket, he will score or get fouled. He looks pretty good on offense.
Yeah, within 15 feet, he's dangerous.
He looks totally as advertised. I feel like if Cantor had played 15 years ago, he would have been a stud. Like some other time in basketball would have found a way to make this guy an all-star.
Right.
It's just that like in this day when you need defense from your guy, or you need to be able to like. First, you need a center that plays defense.
I mean, he could score though. I mean,
I feel like he could have been hidden in a different era of basketball. He could have totally been hidden on defense and been like a beast on offense.
Well, I mean, you could still hide him if you have another good defensive backcourt mate, which the Knicks don't.
You feel like most of the Knicks. You mean front court?
Front court. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like most of Knicks, most of the players of the Knicks. What you could say about them is if another guy who played really good defense was next to him, it'd be very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that about Cantor, Hernan Gomez. I'm not counting Noah.
Ntilikina in the first game, he didn't play the second game, and I don't think he's played yet tonight. In the first game, he looked like okay on defense. On offense, he looked like he was trying to being pass first, but overly predictable pass first. Like he went to do a pick and roll with Cantor. And you could see from 8 miles away he was going to pass the ball to Cantor. Mm-hmm. The first time he got away with the pass and Cantor screwed it up, he would have had like a couple extra assists if Cantor. For some reason, in the first game, Cantor couldn't finish at the rim, but then the second game he was like automatic. But then like he did that twice, and then the third time the Nets were like, "We know the ball's going to Cantor. You have to like try to your own offense, or else this is not going to work."
Right.
But I feel like he's a rookie. I like what I saw from him. Like we didn't see that much of Ntilikina in the first game. But he seemed like he could handle the ball. He seemed like he could pass. He seemed like he was a willing passer. So he seemed like a guy that I feel like he could run the offense. He looked as good as Sessions and Jack really look right now. They don't look much better. I was surprised how Sessions looks better than Jack. I was surprised how unimpressed they've been with Sessions and Jack. I thought they'd have like some kind of veteran leadership. I thought they'd be kind of like the Jason Kidd, not like as good as Jason Kidd, but like Jason Kidd, like just they'll take care of the ball. and that's not what I was seeing from them. They were not taking care of the ball.
Well, there's a reason neither of them really starts almost ever.
So my notes going, yeah, no, you're right. I mean, Frenchie looking good, but I think you cannot have having like some kind of veteran presence at point guard will help Frenchie, and also if Frenchie gets injured, it just helps the rest of the team. You have so many young guys you want to develop. You can't have Ron Baker running the offense.
Right. Actually, Jack has started a good amount.
Who started a good amount?
Jack.
Oh, in his career, yeah.
He started 342 out of his 805 games. That's pretty good.
I mean, Jack also was coming off injury. This is his first time playing in a while. I have enough faith in Sessions and Jack to feel like they'll be decent veteran players on this team. I feel with all the other young guys in this team, it'd be a bad idea not to have like point guards you can go to. If Ntilikina ends up being, I like what I've seen so far, but he's played part of one preseason game. If he ends up being an embarrassment on the court and it's hard to play him, then you'd hope you have some other guys that can like just play and help Timmy and everyone else get better also.
So you think Kuz is out now?
I don't see what the point of Kuz is. He's 28 years old or 27 years old. He's not that good on defense. He's horrible on defense, not that good on offense. He's not a particularly amazing shooter. I don't see him getting that much better. Like, I don't know who he would place on this team. Who is he better than that makes more sense to have him on the roster than the other guy? Kuz, no one gets better for having Kuz on the team. You have, like, what, you want to shoot threes? McDermott shoots better three. He's a better three-point
No, I mean,
shooter.
we were saying Jack was not going to make the team, but it looks like Jack's starting to win over the coach. I mean, he's starting tonight.
Well, they were saying that, what were they saying? Hornacek really likes Jack.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying that, like, just before that, it was Perry really likes Jack. They said that Perry had like some long conversations with Jack. They talked about during the game, and he thinks his knowledge of the game, like what he brings to the game, just like mentally, will be huge for helping Frenchie and Baker to a certain extent also.
Right.
I think they just want some kind of like flow to the offense, and they feel like having two veteran point guards are going to make a much bigger difference and much benefit. Like they can't see how Kuz is gonna. I can't see how Kuz is going to benefit this team longer term.
Yeah,
like,
no, it makes sense.
And like you feel like even if like you have Sessions on the floor and Ntilikina's on the bench at times, like the rest of the team benefits by having a point guard that has a clue what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because that'll make KP better, make Hernan Gomez better. You have to have like some like it's a position that it's helpful to have a lot of. It's like having a veteran QB helps if you have rookie wide receivers out there, young wide receivers, and a young team. Like at least to kind of give some guidance to the rest of the team. I really can't. I would be shocked if they cut either one of those guys, and especially the fact that the Knicks suffer so many injuries, and Ntilikina has been injured most of preseason. Most of the time since he's been drafted by the Knicks, most of the time he's been injured in one way or the other.
And it's been his knee too.
And he might be totally healthy the rest of the way, and he probably will. But the Knicks always suffer tons of injuries anyway. And also, if you have Sessions and Jack, one of those two guys will probably be injured this year. You might as well have the other guy on the roster as well.
Right. Why is it always the knee, though?
Oh, my God. But of the little bit I've seen in Ntilikina, I liked what I saw, and I really think at this, like, he could – I said before, I feel like he's not that much worse than what you were getting from Jack and Sessions. I really want Ntilikina to get a lot of playing time. I think he could be really good. I have a lot of faith in this guy.
I mean, he's still a teenager, so I mean, if he looks good at all, that's a good sign. I mean, 19-year-old point guards usually suck.
I'll go to more of my notes. AC shooting well. Quincy AC can shoot threes. Brooklyn can shoot threes, by the way. They last year they said everyone just shoot threes, and this year it's kind of working out. At least in the preseason, they look like the team is a pretty darn good three-point shooting team. I mean, they're playing against the Knicks. We're not guarding them at the three-point line, but anyway, Quincy AC has developed a three-point shot and looks pretty good from three. I don't know what to say about that.
And Jason Smith has too.
Yeah.
Actually, most guys who didn't shoot threes on the Knicks now shoot threes. Channing Frye does nothing but shoot threes now.
I don't miss. Channing Frye. At some point I would have liked to have had back.
I liked Frye. I liked Frye and Ariza.
I don't think Ariza I like. I don't like AC that much. I don't think he's all that great. But like it's just interesting that he's hitting threes against the Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining about not having AC on the team.
Then I was bitching about Kent Cantor finish at the rim. Let's see what else I have here. I have Beasley. talent of KD. You know how Michael Beasley said he has the talent of Kevin Durant?
Yeah.
What the hell's wrong with this guy? 10%. I use 10% of my brain. He said all these weird things, and the KD thing is insane. And you know what? He's looked really unimpressive on offense. He's looked mediocre at defense, but he's looked really unimpressive on offense. I don't know. Beasley's a guy also. I still think you're better off having Beasley on the team than Kuz, but Beasley I've been very unimpressed with so far.
Well, I mean, he said he matches up against Durant, and he does match up with Durant.
In what way?
Well, he matches up poorly, but he does match up.
I mean, he's not like his defense is pretty mediocre. His offense, I don't know. I struggle to see. I cannot see him getting a ton of playing time. I see him fighting for playing. Sometimes he'll play, but I see him doing a lot of. I don't see him having a major role in this team. I could be completely wrong. It's only I've only watched 2 preseason games, but I've been very unimpressed with Beasley.
He's averaging 9 rebounds.
Yeah, he's got some rebounds. We'll see. I mean, maybe he'll. The thing is, I feel like from Beasley, you have to see really good offense to make him worth having on the court.
Yeah, well, isn't that the MO for 10 out of the 15 guys on this team?
Yeah, that's true. So I had Nets are shooting a lot of threes. Need to figure out guarding the 3-point line in order to compete this season. You know, the Knicks were actually good at guarding the 3-point line last season. Bizarrely, they had when you watch them, they weren't good.
It doesn't feel like it.
But apparently they had one of the lower, one of the better, the team shot lower percentage-wise against them than most teams. I think they were 7th in the league in opponent field goal percentage at the 3-point line.
I think that's because the opposing team was so confused at being so open at the 3-point line, it psyched them out.
Something's skewing the statistic. It's maybe the teams were up by so much that their garbage time they were shooting the threes and then missing them. I don't know.
Right? Yeah, the 15th guy on the bench is jacking up threes and missing.
So my next note, KP has to stop foolish fouls, which he does. You know what a foul I hate? I hate the Pablo Prigioni foul. When the team's on a fast break, or it's going to be 3-on-2 or 3-on-1, and instead of doing that, you foul the guy. Do you like that foul?
You mean to stop the fast break?
Yeah.
No, I don't like that.
Usually I find that KP did that, and then in a real game he'll have done that, and then he'll have to ride the bench for half the game because he'll be in foul trouble.
Right.
I feel like don't waste your fouls on dumb things. If it's going to be 3-on-2 or 3-on-1, see if they make that shot.
Well, also, I don't have as big a problem with that as the James Harden. I'm just going to smash the ball into your chest, and there's a foul there.
Best thing ever. I didn't realize when this rule changed. So they made a rule change that will hurt James Harden. So when you're fouled on the floor, you have to already be into your shooting motion. You have to already be bringing the ball up for shooting, or else they're not going to give you the N1. They're not going to give you the 2. Sorry, they're not going to give you 2 foul shots.
It's still a foul. You just don't get foul shots. Yeah, it'll hurt Harden a little bit, but it's still getting a foul on the opposing team.
No, but it was so ridiculous. If they get a foul, then Harden would take 2 steps and dunk. Or you take 2 steps and then shoot. It would just be a guy would get fouled, and Harden was the worst about this. But guy would get fouled, and suddenly he's shooting and throwing the ball up there. He looked just over his head, whatever he's doing, and they're like, okay, you can shoot 2 free throw shots, even though when you had the ball, you had no thought of shooting until you were fouled.
Right.
So anyway, they're doing away with that, and they're trying to call more travels also. They said they're watching players on offense differently than they used to watch them, and you're going to call more travels. And at least in the preseason games, they called a lot more guys for traveling.
They changed the draft rules too.
They did as well, but that's kind of boring. They just changed the bottom 3 teams at the same average, right?
The bottom 3 teams have the same average. Other teams have a higher percentage. Basically, every team has a higher chance at the number 1 now, and instead of the number 1 can't draft lower than 4, I think they can move down to 5. So it's a little different. It's kind of like a half-assed.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, I'm gonna call Bill Simmons for being a jerk. Bill Simmons is the goddamn jerk. You know why?
Why?
He stole my draft idea. I've been saying for years now on this show that they should have a tournament of the worst teams in NBA and have them play for the number 1 pick, March Madness style. I've been saying this for years.
Yep.
And I'm listening to Bill Simmons, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I think they should just do a March Madness tournament for the number 1 pick, like I've been saying for years." No, you haven't, Bill Simmons. You're a liar. You stole it from our show. He may have been saying it for years. I don't know. I don't regularly listen to Bill Simmons, and when I do, he's actually a really good show. But I say Bill Simmons. I like when he talks about basketball, and I don't like when he talks about anything else.
I agree.
Like most other things, when he has like celebrities on, it's the most boring crap ever.
Nothing is worse than him going over the football lines.
But when he did his he did his over under for wins for the NBA season.
Mm-hmm.
The East and the West, 2 great shows.
Yeah.
But anyway, he stole my idea. That son of a bitch. I said, should Nets fans get excited, or are the Knicks this bad on defense? Russell was looking okay. I hope Sessions is not this bad come the regular season. While the Knicks can't shoot tonight, new Knicks still suck in third quarters. Knicks got crushed in the third quarter in the first game against the Nets. Cantor's finally unstoppable down low. First Knick comeback of the season, because the Knicks they did their usual comeback.
So it's the same exact team as the last 5 years, pretty much.
I'll give my quick Wizard notes. I didn't have that many Wizards notes. Wish Jack didn't look like crap. Must be shooting motion when fouled, the Harden thing. Crushed last year in a game against Houston. You remember this was a good point. You remember the Knicks' first preseason game against Houston last year? And the Knicks lost by like 40 points?
Yeah.
And the Knicks basically admitted they spent the whole preseason up to that point trying to work in the triangle and really had no game plan at all as far as defense against Houston.
Yeah.
So far the Knicks have said they've been working a lot on defense basically in the preseason. And it hasn't reflected yet in the outcomes yet. But I feel like we'll see a difference eventually in the fact that the Knicks are working a lot more on defense.
Yeah, I mean it's just hard when you have an entire team of terrible defenders, but at least they're working on it.
I feel like also there'll be some consistency because you'll see when the same players are on the court all the time, it'll look a lot better. So 2 guys actually, Timmy looks a lot better. I like a lot of what I see from Timmy. He's looked okay, not great on defense. He's looked okay, better than before. On offense, I've liked his passing. His passing and transitions look great. I feel like he needs to drive to the basket more. He has the JR issue of like shooting too many threes and too many jump shots and needs to drive to the basket more. And I guess last season he was doing this, and so hopefully he'll start doing that again. I feel like we're going to like Timmy.
Good, because I hated him when he was here the first time.
I feel like we'll like him a lot better. I feel like he's going to average 17 or 18 points a game again. I think he's going to. I feel like we're going to see there's going to be a lot to like about him. I could be wrong again. So the other guy I actually feel like could have a decent role in this team is Noah. The one thing Noah
have you lost your mind?
So the one thing Noah does do well, even this age, he has a clue where to be on defense, which no one else in the Knicks, like the entire floor, has a clue where to be on defense.
Well, now the problem is he knows where to be, but he's physically incapable of getting there.
It's better than just not being anywhere near where you're supposed to be, like Cantor. I feel like he looked kind of decent. Okay, he doesn't look. His offense he looks mediocre on offense. He looked kind of okay on defense, actually, in the game against Wizards. I feel like he'll be a decent guy to have out there at times to offset the fact the other guy's not playing offense. The other guys aren't playing that good at defense. I feel like there may be a lot of positives having Noah. I mean, his contract's absurd, but his defensive presence, like it's the fact that he'll be like helping. In my mind, he'll be trying to help the younger guys as far as where they're supposed to be on defense.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I feel like his defense, like on pick and rolls and stuff, won't be that bad because having a clue where to be on pick and roll defense will be pretty huge. I could see him being okay on defense. I can see him being, if he stays healthy, somewhat helpful in this team.
Over under 40 games played.
He's going to miss the first 10.
Yep.
So, no, because he has 70 to go basically, and 35 of that. He's not going to play more than half those games.
Right. That's my point.
The Knicks game do not play on game 1 of the preseason because they were like, he needs rest.
He's exhausted from practice. He needs rest.
No, don't exert yourself tonight.
They played a whopping 12 minutes in game 2, so
yeah,
they're probably sitting him tonight then.
I feel like Cock also could maybe be a decent presence next to KP because one thing Cock seems to do pretty well, like he can rebound and he can block shots. I think between him and KP, that could be a helpful like twosome in the front court, back court. What the hell are we talking about? In the front court. I feel like it'd be helpful in the basket, like as far as that can make a difference. Basically, having two guys that can block shots out there, and maybe like Kylo Quinn can develop. He's not gonna be Draymond Green, but maybe a little bit undersized center. He can find some ways to be like do some things that Green does. Not well, but like better than I don't know. I feel like this team overall, my biggest impression from all of it though is they are going to be fun to watch. I think even McDermott, by the way, I feel like McDermott's going to be like Steve Kerr 2.0. He can do more than Kerr can do. He can shoot threes as good as Kerr could do. Not Steve Kerr. Novacaine. He'll be Novacaine 2.0. Like we'll like him in that respect. Like he's a young guy. He can really shoot from three. He can do some other things with the ball. His defense is pretty mediocre, like everyone else in this team. But I feel like McDermott could have a decent role in this team this year. Like if I had to go through the roster of who's going to have bigger roles, like KP, obviously a big role. Hernan Gomez, I feel like is going to be like he'll have a decent sized role, but him and Cantor will be fighting for minutes a lot. Jack will have a big role when Sessions is injured. Lee will definitely have a big role in this team. Hardaway, big role. Nigel Hayes, I don't know why he's still in the roster. McDermott will have a big role. Lance Thomas, I can't see having a huge role. Lance Thomas hit a couple of decent shots the other night, and supposedly he can play defense. I don't know. Quinn, Cantor's going to have a big role. Beasley, I feel like Beasley will disappear for a while because I don't think he'll be that good in this team. Quinn will have a big role. Noah will have a bigger role when he's healthy. I don't know. Do you have any opinions, Jay? Have you watched any games? Do you know anything about the Knicks?
I don't. There's going to be one guy that's getting a big role, and we're not going to know why, and it's probably going to be Thomas.
Oh, so my last two notes were insane amount of turnovers. Insane amount of turnovers. The team is just not taking care of the ball.
29 against Washington, right?
I mean, it's unbelievable. Remember that the Knicks that one year when they won 54 games, they led the league in like turnovers per game, like lowest turnover. They turned the ball over like 11 or 12 times a game. And
well, didn't Woodson have something where like every time there was a turnover, like if they had less than a certain amount of turnovers, like the coaches ran laps, but if they had over a certain amount, they ran laps. It was something weird like that.
I mean, maybe that works. I don't know. Maybe you should threaten the team, like every time we get a turnover, we're gonna shoot an orphan. Yeah, I'm just going right to like murdering kids as like a way to get them to make my basketball team better. So last note, which I think is a good one, Damian Dotson. I like him. I hope this guy gets minutes in this team. I hope they find a way because I feel like he has got a lot of potential. I am a big fan. He's supposed to be solid on defense. I haven't seen that much of it. He hasn't played that much, but they say he's supposed to be pretty solid on defense. The coaches have like a lot of the coaches have high hopes for his ability on defense, and he seems like he's a pretty decent shooter. He seems I've liked in the little bit we've seen from Dotson. I've been a big fan. I feel like he's going to be have a pretty decent role in this team.
Yeah, I mean, out of the guys we're not really familiar with, he's definitely the one that's going to stay, as opposed to Cornette or
right.
Hayes
He's
or
a guy.
whatever.
Basically, he was a solid draft pick.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a positive. I mean, there's nothing more fun than rooting for a guy that we actually drafted.
Yeah, I mean, basically, this team is going to be. They're going to get more assists than last year, turn the ball over a lot more than last year, move the ball a lot faster than last year, but not as very little ISO. And they're going to stick on defense just like last year. And they're going to guard the three-point line as little as last year. Hopefully that somehow they make that work out. Yeah, I mean, yeah. You know what? I was also thinking, just on a totally different note, the 76ers might suck this year. I'm the more I'm thinking about, like, you have guys, everyone basically is entering the league. Ben Simmons, first year in the league. Why is he going to be that good in his first year in the league? Fultz, first year in the league. How good is he going to really be in his first year in the league? Embiid, Embiid's already questionable health right now in preseason. Like, he's probably going to play 30 games this year. I mean, the three of them, Embiid, Fultz, and Simmons, how many games are the three of them going to play combined? If I said 100, will they play over under 100 games?
I would say over 100 just because of I don't think there's any injury concerns with Fultz.
150.
Under.
Hasn't Fultz missed some games in the preseason because of injury?
Yeah, but they're like, sprained ankle. It's not like, exploding knee syndrome, whatever Simmons had.
Would it hurt? Would it hurt or help what you think that the Philadelphia 76ers doctors, they write sprained ankle when the guy has exploding knee syndrome?
I mean, I have no faith that Embiid is ever going to play more than 40 games.
I mean, I say 40 for him. They're already worried about him for this year. I say Simmons probably 50, like 60 games, and Fultz just because the Nets made 60 games. I feel like there's a lot of guys that are not going to play. No one's playing 82 games in this team.
No. Why'd you rate him so high when we did our predictions?
Well, I think we're going to do another preview episode where we're going to talk. We're going to do over under, just like Bill Simmons did, because I want to really argue with you a lot, and I'm going to take them under because I changed my mind a little bit on them.
That didn't take long. 6 days. You're like went from like 4th seed to like I don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs.
I don't know. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I've changed my mind on this.
Quickest turnaround ever.
Ever. I write my opinions in concrete, and then I like throw out the concrete. That's my take on this team. The team is going to be entertaining. What's your thought? You were just looking at the box scores. Do you have any thoughts on it? Did you even look at the box scores? Do you even know the Knicks are playing preseason games?
Yeah, I'm fully aware.
Okay, what were your thoughts basically on all this stuff?
I mean, it's pretty much what we thought going into the preseason. They're going to be bad. They're not going to be good on defense, but they're going to be fun. There's a lot of new faces, and it doesn't seem like there's anybody who's going to be a really big ball hog, and there's going to be ball movement, and it's going to be more enjoyable, which is all you can ask for when it's not going to be a playoff team, is that it's a fun team.
I feel like one issue will be, can Hornacek get a rotation and just these are my guys that are going to play and not change lineups every night and not change? Because the thing is, because guys aren't going to stand out, you're going to see this team change lineups, change who's plays from night to night. And that hurts the team overall if you can't get a rotation in there. You can't say, these are the guys that are playing off the bench, these are the starters. The longer and harder it is to do that, it's because a lot of guys just don't stand out. Everyone's kind of close. It was like the first the year that Derek Fisher was here. He used 82 starting lineups in the first 2 games, 82 starting lineups in 82 games because he's no one stands out here. I have no idea who's better than. It's so hard to say who's better than who.
Well, I mean, at least Lee, Hardaway, and Porzingis are starting.
Yeah, exactly. You have those guys could start, and then you can say Cantor and Hernangomez mix and match starting at center, and maybe some Cock gets some playing time. Then Noah gets some playing time when he's off suspension. McDermott can get some playing time or even start sometimes at small forward. Or you can go smaller lineups with I
don't know. So you know what? I feel like we have half the lineup set, and I think injuries will sort out the other half.
It's if you rated everyone from 1 to 10 and get everyone out of a rating, most of this team's rating is a 5.
Yeah.
And either they're 5 trending downwards or 5 trending upwards. But no one it's hard to say who is so. The only reason to play guys is they're younger and they have more potential in some ways. But is Doug McDermott any more worth playing time than Michael Beasley? In some ways, yes. Some ways, no.
Yeah.
Lee's veteran and Lee's a better player on this team. But on the other hand, don't you want to give Dotson his playing time because Dotson is a young guy and he'll develop?
Well, we'll find out in a week. Season starts on the 17th, so we have 9 more days.
I would say, if I'm going to say who's going to be traded off this team, I'd say Courtney Lee is a big-time trade candidate because I feel like he's a decent enough player that people other teams might want him. And yeah, I guess I could see. I can see Doug McDermott actually being a trade candidate also because he could shoot threes, and so the team might want him to stretch the floor.
Maybe Lance. He's on a decent contract.
But
maybe who are we getting for any of these guys?
I don't know. That's the problem. You have to get something for these guys to make it worth trading. We're not just giving players away. It has to all go towards. We're not trying to get out of these contracts. I mean, the only contracts we're trying to get out of, we can't get out of at this point.
Right.
No one's going to be oh, Timmy's on a good deal. I'll take him from you.
Well, maybe the Spurs still want to trade Paul Gasol for Noah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it was almost a done deal according to some people on Twitter named Tommy D.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's do some.
Okay, let's do some questions. Yes,
we have.
I'm gonna start with a question that was on Facebook that we were meant to read last show, and we did not read last show, and I felt bad we didn't read it. So sometimes people send us direct how is this question sent? Message wise.
Yeah,
not post on Facebook. Send a message.
We have a Facebook page, facebook.com/NYKnicks podcast, and if you send us a message on there, we see it, but we usually forget to read it on the show.
We're so bad at doing everything in our lives, and just remembering, I know to look certain places, and I would look at those certain places. I don't always remember to look here, and I should. And there's a very nice email. Debo writes, and I think his name is Debo. Hi, Marc and Jay. I'm a big fan of the show, been listening for years, and would firstly like to say, as a Knicks fan, born and raised in England, your level of sarcasm is somewhat refreshing. So we now have 4 centers. Can you envision another trade taking place? Like, on the one hand, yeah, you'd want to move one of these centers. On the other hand, what are you going to get for them?
Right. I mean, the guy we want to move is Noah. Nobody's taking him. O'Quinn, yeah, but he makes $4 million a year. So what are we going to get? A second-round pick?
Yeah, in some ways, O'Quinn, he's worth more than his contract. I feel like it's in some ways like it's worth just kind of keeping O'Quinn, as he's a solid role player on the team.
Right.
I think last year we might have said you should trade him. I don't know. Maybe we change that every week. But I don't think you're getting enough to make it worthwhile. Like, is a second-round pick worth it for O'Quinn?
If he's not playing, it is.
But he's probably going to be playing.
I mean,
would you rather have Noah play or whatever?
Well, I mean, I'd rather just play 4-on-5 than have Noah play. But I mean, Noah's on the team. We're stuck with Noah, and then I don't think we want Hernangomez or Cantor gone. So
you're not getting a late first-round pick for you're not getting a first-round pick for Kyle O'Quinn, and that's the issue. If you get if you get like the 20th pick in the draft, maybe the Knicks do it. But you're going to get like the 40th pick in the draft, and it may not be worth it at that point.
Right.
Separately, I've watched all the Knicks games that came to London, and I'm finally making my pilgrimage. I'm retarded. Pilgrimage. By the way, I'm teaching my 6-year-old son how to read, and this is how bad I am at reading.
He's going to fail school.
Oh, my God. I'm finally making my pilgrimage to the Mecca this year. I've been a Melo fan from before he joined us, and with all the trade drama, I decided to get tickets to the Knicks-Rockets game, so I would definitely see him play in the Garden. Ooh. In true Knicks fashion, he has now been traded to OKC. We always get blown out by the Rockets, and 2 days later, the Knicks play the Suns at home, which should be a more competitive game. So my question is, should I now try and get some cheap seats for the Knicks-Suns game, or can you recommend the best place to watch the game in Manhattan? Keep the last coming. So first, yeah, the Knicks are gonna get crushed by the Rockets. You should get some. If you're gonna be here, the Suns are bad. Get some tickets to go see the Knicks play the Suns.
Yeah.
The Suns play no defense either. It'll be a fun game to watch.
We watched the game at Stout. I had fun there.
Oh yeah, Stout's a pretty good, decent place to watch.
I mean, there's a bunch. Clyde's, because you might run into Clyde after the game.
We still have not gone to Clyde's to watch a game. We should do that this year.
Yes.
We gotta have, once Jay, you're done with your CPA crap, or you have some time off from your CPA crap. Jay's trying to pass the CPA exam because he wants to better his life. What a jackass. Let's do a meetup at one of these places.
Yeah, maybe we'll set up a meetup, and I'll call up Clyde's and see if we can get a deal going.
Yeah, there you go. So there's a bunch of places around MSG, and there's Clyde's you can watch also. Stout wasn't bad. There's a couple other bars around there that I can't remember. I can't remember the names right now, which is really helpful for you.
Yeah.
I know. But you really could also go like where MSG is. You just walk on like 34th Street. You'll hit a bunch of bars that'd be pretty decent to watch the game at.
All right. Also, we have a Patreon. Patreon.com/NYKnicksPodcast. We had a very generous donation last week, so I want to thank you very much. And I will be sending your shirt out, but I'm getting an extra little goodie to put in there. So
a little goodie? What are you putting in there?
I'm getting more Knicks.
Jay's taking a naked picture of himself. He's gonna put it in there, and with a bow on himself, and just say like, "Hi, boys."
I'm getting Knicks podcast merch.
Merch.
You're
merch. We don't have any merch.
Well, we will next week.
What are we gonna have?
Pens.
Where did you get pens from?
Don't worry about it. I got Knicks podcast pens.
Where did you get pens from? Don't worry about it. Come on.
The National Pen Company.
National Pen Company. Jay's making up companies.
No, that's really the name of the place.
Do you think if you pass your CPA exam, you could become like the accountant at the National Pen Company?
Maybe.
Do you think that'd be a good job?
I don't know. We'll see.
Jay, you get your job, they'd offer you like a 6-figure salary, and then the next day they'd be like, "Well, Jay, it turns out everyone's typing, so sorry, game's over. We're shutting down." Yeah. By the way, so the level of donation that person made was freaking awesome. We really appreciate it. Jay promises if you come to New York, he'll give you a hand job. Just don't tell anyone about it.
So yeah, I'll send out your package next week once I get the pens in.
Okay, cool.
So email nyknickspodcast@gmail.com.
Did you pay for these pens?
No, they sent me 100 pens for free.
They sent you 100 pens for free?
No,
Their business is their big business here is have a form of
I'm being sarcastic. They sent me one pen.
Oh.
And with a deal for 100 more.
Wow. I thought you really got 100 pens. I thought the company was run by you.
No, I didn't.
Okay, go on.
Taylor writes, "Hey guys, been a listener for the past year and loved both this show and The Brink of Sanity. That's our comedy podcast. I know Mark can't pronounce names to save his life, so I figured I would help you out. There has been one that's been bothering me since this summer. Raymond Sessions' name is pronounced Rayman Sessions, like a Jamaican guy saying man. Oh, Raymond Sessions. Keep up good work.
Okay.
Raymond.
Yeah. Okay.
Keep up the good work, and you need to get Bri on the Knicks show."
Yeah. That sounds like a call up. Let's get him on here. So it's Raymond?
That is Bri's our co-host from The Brink of Sanity.
Wait, it's Raymond?
Raymond. Yeah.
You sure?
According
to... Okay, Raymond Sessions.
Yep.
Okay, well, I'll never get this right. What else you got?
Curtis writes, "I'm the English guy who wrote in a year ago, so I've been a Knicks fan for one whole year now. My condolences. I chose the Knicks as my team because my soccer team is crap. West Bromwich Albion are a mid-table boring club, so by choosing the Knicks, I thought I'd choose a team that would deliver me some glory, but I was wrong. So although I'm still getting my head around the NBA, here are the thoughts of a clueless Englishman in New York. Defense this year is going to be much better than last year. I think with Melo out of the team, the whole ethos will change, and a preseason without Phil will surely help the team, right?"
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that, but they're going to try. I'm not sure if Melo tried so much on D. I think these guys will try. They're just not good at D. If basketball is anything like soccer, these young guys need minutes on the court. Frank, Ron, Billy, the more minutes on the court, the better. The more mistakes they make, the more they learn and improve in theory. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
KP looks like a different beast this year. He looks stronger, and he looks like he's ready to handle some pressure, whereas last year he seemed to be happy hiding in Melo's greedy shadow.
What's the next crunch time lineup? Bill Simmons was talking about this on the show. What's the next crunch time lineup?
Probably Jack, Lee, Hardaway, Porzingis, Cantor.
Really? You have like the worst defensive players on the team for...
They're all the worst.
I almost feel like the crunch time lineup might be like KP. Like I was gonna say Noah. I was saying Noah, Baker. I'm putting all the defensive players out there. Ntilikina, Courtney Lee. I have no idea. I don't know what their crunch time lineup is. It's so hard to say with this team.
Ntilikina, Lee, Baker, Porzingis, Noah, I guess would be their monster defensive lineup.
That's what I'm thinking. I think you need a lineup that has some defense. So, like, it may be worth playing guys. So, supposedly the Knicks are going to really hold guys accountable this year and not play if you don't play defense.
So they're going to have to start canceling games because nobody's going to be on the court.
Yeah. Just on a totally side note, and it doesn't mean anything, but OKC played, like, some I think it was like an Australian team and barely beat them. And I looked at the box score, and you looked at Paul George and Carmelo Anthony had like the just like horrible shooting nights. And I'm wondering, like, Paul George is a as much as you say he's become like a low efficiency player, and so is Melo. I wonder if this team is going to really just be it's going to backfire on them getting like Paul George and Melo, because they're both going to like you can't like win games if you're just like so inefficient on offense.
I think they're going to be really good.
Yeah, they're probably going to be really good. I'm just trying to like make myself feel better.
So I know about tanking now. What an effing weird system. It's the most unsportsmanlike approach to a sport that I'm aware of. When you break it down, let's suck for the rest of the season. By this, we might be better next year.
Yeah, they should. I wasn't a fan for a while of them doing away with it, but I kind of more of a fan of them doing away with it now, because it does it really ruins the Knicks season also, because if it makes sense to tank, they should tank. But let's get rid of the incentive to tank.
Yeah, I would rather have them gone even further with the percentages to win the draft.
What would you have done? I almost feel like make it flat. Everyone has the exact same percentage from 1 to 14 or 1 to whatever.
Yeah, I figured out the math at some point where it was like the top 5 have an 8% chance, the next 5 have 7, and the last 4 have like 6%. So it's almost all the same, and that worked out. I don't think it's exactly those numbers, but it was something close to that, and I think that would be fine.
Or have it have the first 10 are all even, and the last 4, like 11 through 14, don't have the same odds. That way you don't have an incentive to like miss the playoffs.
Right.
Because, but like the 10 versus 11 is kind of the only place you'd want to tank, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I know they're afraid that like a borderline playoff team wins the draft, but so what?
I mean, like with the NBA, with so few teams being good ever, then it almost is helpful. Like if like the
well, you know what increasing the odds does? It decreases the chance of you being stuck in NBA purgatory, where you're like an 8th place team, or like say like a 9th place team every year.
Yeah, like so, like the Miami Heat, who just missed the playoffs last year, if they had gotten the number 1 pick and gotten say like
Fultz,
Tatum, Fultz. Let's say they got Fultz, and that made a huge difference. Suddenly, Miami Heat could suddenly compete in the playoffs. Well, that'd be good for the NBA. Just having more teams that can compete and can have a shot at the title, or can get really good faster. I don't know. The current system sucks, basically.
Yeah, now they're just good enough to get a bad draft pick, and they're not any better than last year, and they're going to lose in the first round of the playoffs again.
Because like Anthony Davis ends up in hell playing for the Bobcats for years. That doesn't really help the NBA, because he's not good enough to make them like so much better. He's just good enough to like look good while they suck. But if you added Anthony Davis to the Miami Heat from last year, maybe that team becomes like good enough to really compete. Basically.
Well, Davis is on the Pelicans, and the Bobcats aren't even a team. But
oh my God.
I know what you're saying.
I've been a long weekend too.
This is why we can't get like celebrity guests on the show, because we're idiots.
That's why we can't get celebrity guests on the show. But we are idiots, though. That's why we can't be taken seriously by each other, much less like real fans.
Surely giving 100% effort and trying to win is the only way to play in any sport, right? 100% effort or a year, the Knicks maybe make the playoffs, but more importantly, there's a lot of happy fans. Love the podcast. See you in November for the Miami game, Curtis. Thank you, Curtis.
Yes, we should do a meetup in November.
Sounds
I
good.
know mid-November or December one maybe, but mid-November. Let's do one right before like the week before Thanksgiving. You want to try that? We'll look at the calendar. You'll see when your CPA exams are going on. Blah blah blah.
Right.
Okay, we'll just commit to a day right now.
John writes, attach for some highlights I just went through on the Book of Basketball by Bill Simmons. I just thought they were funny and confirmed some of the points you guys have made in the past. So I looked at these, and it's funny how blatantly obvious some of these things were that the Knicks just went by anyway. Like he writes, check out Amari Stoudemire, scores 22 to 25 points a night for Phoenix, grabs 2 rebounds a quarter, screws up defensively over and over again, botches every defensive switch, doesn't make anyone else better, doesn't create shots for anyone else, and doesn't feel any responsibility to carry his franchise, even as Phoenix pays him as a franchise player.
Wait, Bill Simmons wrote this before he went to the Knicks?
Yeah, this is from the Book of Basketball, written before.
Which is a good book. Jay actually loaned this book to me. It was a really good book to read, but I don't remember this stuff. Holy crap, that's like spot on.
I know.
I mean, that is so. Can Bill Simmons be our GM? Any team ever been like, for our new GM, a guy with a popular podcast?
This one was funny too. Biggest help spending the summer. This is for in referring to LeBron. Biggest help spending the summer playing on the dream team and getting pushed by MJ. This also drove LeBron to new heights. Working out with Kobe and Wade during the '08 Olympics and getting those should I need to get better juices flowing. Like the effect Stephon Marbury had on Carmelo Anthony in Athens, only the exact opposite.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So there's a couple other ones, but yeah, basically, Bill Simmons takes a bunch of digs in the book on the Knicks, but he has all valid points.
By the way, just a totally separate point right now. I have the game now on the background, and so right now on the floor is Xavier Nathan Mays is playing, and Nigel Hayes. Why are they playing on the game? Like at some point, it's just stupid to be playing those guys. Those guys aren't going to make the team. It might be valuable, even though the Knicks are getting blown out, to give extra minutes tonight to Dotson or someone else tonight that might be like a role in this. By the way, Dotson, even though I just said he looked really good, he looked really good in this. What I've seen from him, apparently according to the box score tonight's game, he looked horrible.
Yeah, he has a plus minus of -19, and he's 0 for 5. But we would love to have him on the podcast if he wants to join us at some point.
But like Michael Beasley didn't play tonight. Why don't Michael Beasley play like in the best practice you're going to get during the preseason is going to be actual games. So have the guys play actual games. Like why? What's the point of having? What do they gain by having Nigel Hayes on the floor? What do they gain by having Nigel Hayes in the building?
Which is also weird. Guys who have not played today: Beasley, Cantor, Kuz, Ntilikina, Baker.
Like, has Kuz played this preseason? I don't think so. I think maybe he's been injured. I don't know.
The first game, the box score said illness, and then it just says has not played for the next two. So.
I actually, he's right now. It just says Kuz, and then like instead of say where it says has not entered the game, it just says who gives a shit? Why are you even looking here? Kuz won't be on the team. That's what it says. It says on ESPN. Okay.
I went to his profile and it said, "Oh, we didn't expect anybody to look him up. We didn't populate this."
His Wikipedia page has no longer on the Knicks already on there, just in anticipation. I don't know. I mean, maybe he'll be on the Knicks. Whatever. It's just weird to like give minutes to guys that just aren't going to be. There's no way Hayes is going to be on the roster. Why? And it doesn't matter that much. But like giving McDermott a couple extra minutes, maybe that'll be more helpful for him. Like, hey McDermott, like for these next couple minutes, try playing defense.
Yeah.
I don't know. It should be an interesting team, but we're gonna lose a lot of games. By the way, the Nets look flat out better than the Knicks right now.
Yeah, they're up by like 30. And
I know, and they killed them in the first preseason game also. And I know preseason doesn't matter at all, really, but the Nets might just be better than the Knicks this year. Like the Nets look like they're heading in like some different. How do the Nets have no draft picks and they're heading in a better direction than the Knicks are?
I don't know.
Not that the Nets have so many players that you're like these guys are really the future. The only thing they have is they have Russell, and you can think like he might be part of the solution.
Could be.
I don't
know. Okay, we are NY Knicks Podcast on Twitter.
Facebook. Paul writes, is KP doing a homage to Melo by saying he doesn't want to waste his energy playing the 5? You know that KP said that, by the way. KP said he exerts too much energy playing the 5, and that's why he prefers to play the 4. So he doesn't have to like bang down low. He can have more energy for offense.
So it's Melo with moved one position over. Cool.
He's literally yes. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's good enough to play the 5 right now in the NBA. I feel like he's gonna get. I feel like at some stretches he'll be good at the 5, but I don't think he's good enough to play the 5 right now. But it's just weird he says like the same kind of Melo thing. Like I want to make sure I have my energy for offense. When defense really goddamn matters, and if you're gonna have a real role in this league, they should all just say, look at Enes Kanter. If defense didn't matter, he'd be a goddamn all-star.
Right. They should say that right in front of Enes.
right. They should, because then Enes Kanter's like, hey, you're talking about me? And they'd be like, yeah, play some goddamn defense, Kanter. And I know the thing about defense, they say it's about effort. The Knicks are going to put in the effort this year. I have a feeling that everyone's talking about defense. Hernan Gomez talked about said he worked on defense all offseason. They're going to put the effort in, but it's also about learning where to be on defense, and that's going to be the bigger issue.
Yep.
Is knowing that, like, where to be on defense is going to be a big issue for this team over and over again. Because it's one thing if a team's just playing if it's just you one-on-one, you can play defense. But when teams are doing switches, like pick and roll, it's hard to know where to go, and that takes really like communication, teamwork, and that's where the Knicks are going to be like hurting.
Yep.
But hopefully getting better. But I didn't like that KP comment. Do you think KP's good enough to play the 5 right now in the NBA?
It depends on the matchup.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's fair to say. I feel like I liked him best with like a guy like Robin Lopez next to him, a good defensive center. Right now is probably you're gonna get the best thing. I don't think KP also rebounds well enough to be a center yet. Right.
Yeah, he's got to work on that.
Paul writes, "Is it a coincidence that Beasley wears the same number as J.R. Smith?"
Oh my God.
The thing is, I just don't think Beasley's gonna have a huge role in this team. I could see just from watching a little of him, I can see why he's not gonna why he did not make it in the NBA. He does not look like the guy like he needs to be. You feel like Beasley should be more of a standout at least on offense.
He'll have games where he'll go crazy, and you're gonna like, why isn't this guy playing more? And then
I'm not gonna fall for Derek Williams again.
Yeah.
Paul writes, "Who will play more games this year, Embiid or Frank?" Paul, you're evil.
I'm still going Frank.
Frank hands down. I say Frank will play double the games of Embiid, so 30 to 60. If Embiid really if Frank really is injured all year, I will be so goddamn upset.
Will you be even more upset if Dennis Smith Jr. goes off?
Okay, I haven't watched him yet, but I know he's had some good games in preseason. I don't think I don't think Dennis Smith's going to be that great either. I mean, do you think Dennis Smith's going to be? Are you regretting not taking Smith?
No, I have no idea how Smith is going to look.
I don't know. They say the only thing I can go on the fact that they say his defense is horrible, but I haven't seen him play an actual game yet, so who the hell knows?
Yeah.
Nick writes, "Did you see the video? By the way, why every year can we not have a healthy team for preseason?
I know.
Like and not even healthy, just a team there. Like Derrick Rose couldn't be there because he's like testifying and he's like that rape thing, and then like now Frank can't play because can't you just have why can't we just have a team that plays like everyone's healthy for preseason at least?"
They don't want to set unrealistic expectations for the regular season.
I know. That's the one thing also. As whatever you want to say about this team, you know half the team is going to be injured this year. And that's going to be whatever you think about the team, it's going to be so much worse because of the injuries. Nick writes, "Did you see the video of Abby Hornacek throws a bomb touchdown pass?" I will see that video now. Abby Hornacek touchdown pass?
Let's watch.
I'm gonna watch a video while everyone's.
Yeah, let's wait on that one.
Okay. Jay writes, "Who will average the most assists per game? The most important." Jay? You know what you should do? You should make the Knicks Instagram page just Abby Hornacek all the way. Every day is just Abby Hornacek with the question of the day. You want to do that?
Sure.
Do that tomorrow. Whatever the question of the day is, and I haven't thought of it yet. Just put the whole week. This week, just post a picture of Abby Hornacek and the question of the day. And I bet we get so many. I bet we get so many. What do you get? Likes, follows. What do you get? Whatever you get on Instagram,
followers.
More so than any other week.
Yeah, we got 30 followers last week. We'll see if we top that this week.
I bet you do Abby Hornacek all week. We'll definitely beat it. Jay writes, "Who will average the most assists per game? The most important stat we should be looking for, since that's where we were lacking for the past 100 years." Who will average the most assists a game? So I think Sessions is better than Jack, so I don't have more of a role in this team. So I'm going to say Sessions will average the most assists on the team, and that will be 5.2 assists per game.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think anybody's averaging more than 5.
Ntilikina per 36 will be over 7 or 8, but that'll be per 36. I think Ntilikina, unfortunately, will play 20 to 25 minutes a game. But I think he'll have good assist numbers in that time plays.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel writes, how many games into the season will it be when you'll lose the flicker in your eye and the butterflies in your stomach and the reality of the situation sets in?
20.
Well, Daniel, I haven't lost it yet. I've been very entertained by the Knicks' blown-out losses. Their two losses so far. I've been very entertained by it. I have a lot. Yeah, 20 sounds pretty good. Martin writes, is KP, Willie's, Cantor's, KO's inability to sorry. Oh my God, I'm retarded. He put it in quotes, so I thought he was trying to say something else. But he said decently.
Oh my God, you could read decently.
I thought he was trying to say some play on the word center, because I'm he put it in quotations.
Your son is doomed.
Oh my God, I really like, and I read with my son every night. I really like. I mean, when he goes to school, and he's like, my dad makes me a decent reader. I also, most of the time when I'm reading with him, like, I don't even know like what the rules are. I'm just like, I make up my own rules. I'm like, 2 vowels together. The first vowel is long. I don't know. It just is. What was the rule? That's just my rule. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are for reading.
Yeah,
I don't know how I
I
ever learned how to read. I'm like, what's a C-E in a word? You pronounce it as an S because C likes to like look like an S sometimes. I don't know. Anyway, is KP, Willie's, Cantor, KO's inability to decently guard the perimeter a bigger problem than we think?
I don't know. I think it's a big problem.
Well, when those guys were playing center, your center doesn't really necessarily need to guard the perimeter, right?
It depends who they're guarding.
Most centers in the league aren't shooting threes. Well,
yeah, but if they can't guard at all, other teams are going to figure that out and do a switch.
Don't switch on us. We can't take that. It's unfair. Like the Knicks is like the team switches, the refs should be like, timeout. You're not allowed to switch. You know you guys are half retarded. Please don't switch again. Thank you. You know you can beat them without switching. You don't do it again. Josh writes, yes, Martin, you're right. I mean, is KP ready to take the team at such a young age with so many vets around him, or do you think the vets will make him embrace this role? Or do you think the vets will make him embrace this role?
I think they'll make him embrace it.
Yeah, I think he wants to embrace it, so I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Gilliam writes, the other day you talked about Doncic. Okay. A couple of things. It's probably not 100% correct, but you would be closer if you said Doncic. Well, what? That's my problem with this language. Like, why, if it's a C, why is it an S? It's idiot. Everything should be freaking like
Can we move on?
No. Okay. Said Doncic. He plays at Real Madrid, one of the best teams in the Europe. He's not a small forward. He's a very big point guard at 6'7", super clutch and intelligent for an 18 or 19-year-old. By the way, if you want to rate him, don't say Anthony Randolph can't have a place in the NBA because he starts at power forward at Real Madrid and has been playing reasonably well. So, first off, if Anthony Randolph's been playing pretty well at Real Madrid, you think maybe he has a role in the NBA?
No.
But if guys are like we're a big test for guys is like how if they're playing well in Real Madrid, we think a lot of that if they're playing in the NBA.
Anthony Randolph had 9 years in the NBA.
Yeah, that's a lot of years. By the way, Gilliam had another thing he posted, and I can't find it now. I don't know. Maybe he deleted it. Whatever. Oh, here it is. I don't know why it went away. Now I have it. He said, "Did you see the Beasley 10% of the brain thing? Had never seen this reporter Taylor Brooks, but can't take her off my head." Anyway, do you think Beasley was flirting with her? Should he maybe give KP a couple of lessons so he stops trying to pick up 17-year-old Latvian Instagram girls?
I didn't see that. I got to watch that later.
Yeah. Oh, she is pretty hot. Sorry. And Beasley probably is kind of hitting on her. And his shirt says "Goat in New York." Greatest of all time in New York. What the hell's wrong with Michael Beasley? You would think a guy who was basically a draft bust would be a little bit more
modest.
Maybe he should use the 10% of his brain that he talks about. Does he know also that whole thing about the 10% of the brain thing is just like a myth?
Apparently not.
But maybe do you think he thinks the Earth is flat? Someone had a funny comment about that actually. I think Cantor had like a funny comment about the whatever, I can't remember the comment. There was someone made a funny comment when we were in reference to the Earth being flat. Anyway, Jay, what do you have? What tidbits do you want to offer from all your time spent preparing for the show?
We're done with questions.
Yeah, we're done with questions. What are you going to do for next show? We have next week. The Knicks will play another. Should we do our NBA preview episode?
Next week is our draft episode.
Oh, okay. The following week we'll do it. The season will really have already started the following week, huh?
Yeah.
Can we preview the league while we do the draft?
Yeah. I mean, if we have any downtime, we could do that.
Why don't we just do it during the draft?
If we can, yeah.
I'll call out while you're drafting. I'll call out teams. We'll argue the under/over on the team while you're drafting.
Sounds totally not distracting.
Okay, sounds good. So are you going to do any preparation for the draft?
Probably like an hour before. I'll probably jump on.
Oh, so more than you did for this episode.
All right. So thanks for listening, everybody. Sorry for those of you that just messaged me about a live show. I did not set the live room up.
You didn't do it live?
Our
fans have paid for this, and you don't do a live show? And you want patrons? This is what we're gonna get, patrons. You come to Jay. Maybe then he'll get his act together and do the live show.
Bye, love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye.